Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hi, hello to all our viewers. My name is Bismita Skate and I'm a journalist at The Print in New Delhi. The Print team, along with my colleague Manisha Mondal, are right now in Uttar Pradesh's Hathras district to report on the case of the gang rape, alleged gang rape of the 20-year-old Dalit girl last year in the same month. This 20-year-old Dalit girl was allegedly gang raped by 4 upper caste men who were charge sheeted by the Central Bureau of Investigation last year, December 18th. The trial of the case has started, and there's been a lot of courtroom drama, including allegations that the family and the lawyer of the girl were threatened. This is one of the assignments that we are currently here. However, I have traveled last year as well during the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, and this year too. And this has been possible only because of good subscribers and viewers as yourselves. Thank you so much. It is because of subscribers like yourself that we reporters at The Print can get to the ground and meet and bring to you these deep dive, investigative, human interest stories from the remotest areas of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Haryana. This is a live interactive session. This is part of a new print series, Reporters Direct, where our subscribers get an opportunity to interact with us. We take live questions as well. We address questions that our subscribers sent us already. So a couple of questions have already come to us. Let me just give you a brief about my journey last year during the COVID-19 pandemic and this year. Last year, me and my colleague had traveled all the way from New Delhi in the lockdown to Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, and we were on the field for around 35 days. This year, I and another colleague also traveled across Uttar Pradesh to report on vaccine hesitancy following the death of 16 Aligarh Muslim University professors. Now, what we had found out in a report that maximum of these professors had not taken the vaccine dosages. So, throughout UP, vaccine hesitancy was a problem then, which has become better now in the times recently. Now, coming back to our Hathras, coming back to the Hathras case, the case of the 20-year-old Dalit girl had, massive protests broke out across the country due to this case. And, the Bhim Army chief, Chandrasekhar Azad, had also come and, told that he's going to take the entire family back to his own hometown to give them protection as they felt threatened. Now, this spot that I'm standing right now, this is a place where the girl was allegedly cremated without the permission of the family members and without their presence last year. Now, what happened? What unfolded that night? My colleague Manisha Mondal had captured an image of that night, which showed that there were police officials with massive security, barricading the entire area as the victim's body was burnt. The pyre was already lit and the fuel was poured, and the family members were barricaded and they were locked inside their homes. Now, what happened last night on the wee hours of 30th September? She had succumbed to her injuries on 29th September in New Delhi Safdarjung Hospital. The crime had taken place allegedly on 14th September, which is about 500 meters from where I'm standing right now. So she and her mother and her brother were out to collect fodder for their, cattle and to feed their cattle. Now, when she and her mother were still there, the brother had gone back to his house to leave the further back at home. Now, when he came back, he saw that his mother is flustered, looking for the daughter. They looked here, they looked there, but they could not find her. And then suddenly she found her slippers, a pair of pink slippers, and then she followed trail and found her daughter in a dilapidated condition. She was lying there, partially paralyzed. They took her immediately to a hospital and to the Chandpa Thana, where allegedly the police officials tried to hush up the matter, but the family fought back. A lot of activists joined this movement demanding protest for the 20-year-old girl. Now, the four upper caste men that allegedly gang raped her are Thakur men. Now, this area, like I mentioned, the Samshan Ghat, next to which I'm standing right now, where she was cremated in the VRs, to be specific, at 2:30 a.m. that night by the UP police and the UP government officials, is a Thakur-dominated village, and this the area has been located specifically for the Harijan community. The girl who had died belonged to the Harijan Valmiki community in this village. The about 70% of the village is dominated by Thakurs, the 20-25% is dominated by Brahmins, and the rest, around 3 to 4 households, are from the Valmiki community. So you already understand that they are a minority in this Bulgari village where we are standing right now. I'm just going to get back after checking if we have a couple of questions. Yes. So one of our viewers had asked the question, how do we report on such crimes if the particular NGOs are helping them out? So NGOs and a lot of other bodies, Dalit organizations, have been offering assistance, legal counseling to the family. Their advocate, Seema Kushwaha, has been fighting tooth and nail, whether in court or otherwise providing moral assistance to the family members of the alleged gang rape victim. But justice in these sort of cases comes after a heavy struggle. When we visited the family members yesterday, I and my colleague Monisha Mondal visited the family yesterday. They told us that how the elder brother, who's the prime witness of the prosecution in the case, was mocked at and threatened in the court in March this year. Things turned so dramatic in front of the district judge that he had to ultimately adjourn the court. Now, this case is going on in the special Hathras court for the ST/SC court. Now, the family and the lawyer petitioned that, this case should be transferred back to Allahabad High Court. Just last month, the Lucknow bench said that we will not be staying the trial or transferring the trial out of Hathras and at the court, and that the case will still be fought in the special Hathras court. This petition was put forward after, a couple of lawyers, a gang of lawyers inside the Hathras court, threatened Seema Kushwaha and the brother when he was providing his statement, allegedly made fun of the victim's undergarments when the brother was being questioned in the court, and one of the lawyers was also allegedly drunk. Now, the brother, yesterday when we met the brother, he told us that, he leaves for the court around, 10ish in the morning and then comes back around 5:30ish. He told us that he does not eat anything the entire day. When I asked him, why do you do that? Don't you feel hungry? He says that because he has to keep standing in court for long hours, he feels he has a puking tendency, and to, evade such kind of a situation, he does not, eat anything. One of our other viewers, Mr. Rohit, has asked us a question, how do reporters like us cover such crimes? Thank you very much for your question, Rohit. It's for subscribers like you that, we get to stand and, report on such cases from the ground with facts. So, Rohit, to address your question, we need to understand the very fact that when such a crime takes place in rural India, it is very important. It is mandatory for national media to come and throw light, because casteism and caste politics have always been a predominant part of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar's politics, or their other socio-political system. In fact, socio-political economic system, because there's disparity, there's oppression. Dalits have, there have been massive crime. If you look at NCRB's data from the recent years, there have been massive crimes against women, children, and men from Dalit communities, from the ST/SC communities, and which is why we have the ST/SC Act. Now, now coming back to the case, so the trial started after the Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI, charge sheeted on December 18th last year and charged the 4 upper caste Thakur men with gang rape and murder. Massive protests had broken out across the country, and in Bulgaria itself, from both the parties. There were Thakur men, the upper caste men, who were revolting that, that the 4 accused were, they were innocent and it was a framed case. Now the defense's case is very important to understand right now. The defense's case here is on the single thread that this is a case of honor killing. They have repeatedly challenged in the court that these four men had nothing to do with the case, and there have also been past reports that the prime accused Sandeep and the victim were in an alleged relationship. They spoke on call for around 5 hours over a period of 3 to 4 months. What has changed after a year? One of our viewers, Sanchit Gupta, has asked us this question: that how do I come back, and how does it feel to come back here after it, and what has changed? Thank you for your question, Sanchit. As a crime and security reporter at the print, we have been trained to analyze different sort of situations, the atmospheres, and when we report on facts, when we report on things, to analyze if something that is happening is factually correct, to do a ground check. Now, coming back to what has changed here. Last year, when we came, the environment was completely different in one way and not so different in another. Let me just break it down for our viewers and our subscribers here. Last year, the environment was full of tension. It was loud, it was tensed. Everything was getting murkier. Everything was just getting the violence broke out. There was stone pelting, there was lathi charge, and everything was on the whole extremely violent and tense, to the situation that even media personnel like myself and my colleague were threatened by goons of various right-wing Hindu organizations outfits here. When we in fact visited into one of the accused, the prime accused Sandeep's house, who lives like at a stone throwing distance. His house is at a distance of of hardly a meter from the victim's house. They were extremely hostile. They felt that this was a media trial. In fact, when we visited Sandeep, his father spoke to us today. He was like, this case has gone from our hands. Like, there's nothing left in this case because this is a media trial. And when we asked that, what do you think of the case? He told us that, this case, we do not expect our son to come back home, because the media has already convicted him. Their lawyer has already made all preparations. The police has now, the CBI has now gone on their side. It is everything is on their side. They had first alleged that it was only Sandeep who has allegedly sexually assaulted her, but now they're saying there are 4 other men. So notably, just to give a background on the case, one of the other accused, Love Kush. Now, there has been a point of contention earlier last year that Love Kush is only 17 years of age and not of 18. However, that fact was challenged by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and that it came forward that he was actually above the age of 17 years. He's actually above 18 years per se. So it was said that Love Kush, when the victim's mother tried to wake her up when she had gone into a sort of a paralytic attack due to the injury in her spine, it was Love Kush who had run home and got her a glass of water. Now, that is the sole point that Love Kush's father and other family members keep telling us and to other media channels, that, if he had sexually assaulted her, if he was a part of the alleged gang rape, why would he give her water? Only time and court's verdict will decide Love Kush's future in this matter. As far as Ravi and Ramu, the other two accused in the case, their families say that they're married and they have small children between the age of 3 to 8 years who have just started going to school. They say that they miss their father. They do not understand what has gone wrong, why their father is behind the bars for so long. And the family members of the accused also say that the police do not let them meet their sons and their husbands, and they only get to speak for 2 minutes, where their sons and their husbands cry, saying that that we have not committed this alleged gang rape. One of our viewers has asked us about the March 2021 incident. So thank you very much for your question. In order to address that question, we need to go back again to the caste dynamics in Bulgari of Hatras village. Like I mentioned, 70% of this entire village is of Thakurs. It is a Thakur dominated village. In fact, there is a mandir here where it's written very clearly, Brahmin Samaj Mandir, where the Harijan community, the Valmiki community people are not allowed to enter for any puja, for any worshipping the idol, or for anything per se in this area. Now, when I say this, the entire village here, when we spoke, and my colleague spoke to a lot of villagers here today, when we asked them that how do you feel it's been a year, they say that yes, media has come here and we know that it's going to be a year. But none of them actually speak about the 20-year-old Dalit girl. None of them addressed the concern that she was allegedly gang raped. They only say that four men are behind the bars, that four men with families, with small children and wives and old parents are behind the bars, and their parents do not even get to, spend time with them, whatever festival it is. Now, coming back to the family of the 20-year-old Dalit girl, Diwali, Raksha Bandhan, New Year's, a lot of festivals have passed by, but the family is just extremely, extremely broken from within after they lost their youngest daughter. They recently, when we visited the family, they showed us old videos of the girl dancing to songs at a wedding back in 2016-17 in New Delhi, where she was happy and she no worries in her life, enjoying. And the mother tells us that she's gonna frame and put up a picture of the girl only on the day that she gets justice. And by justice, the brother, the elder brother, the younger brother, and the mother says they mean that all the four should be hung till death. That is, death penalty should be awarded them by the court. Now, coming back to what happened on the wee hours of September 30th, around 2:30, is that when the body was brought in after the post-mortem from Safdarjung Enclave, and my colleague had followed the ambulance and reached the village. Now, after we reached the village, the car, the police vehicle, had stopped in front of the family's, the girl's house, and everybody, including myself, expected that the family, the body will be brought into the house, but nothing of that sort took place. It was an extremely upsetting feeling to see that the family members cried in front of the car. They were completely torn. They begged. In fact, we had done a lot of video stories, and we had massively covered this entire event, documented them on videos with photographs and news reports, which you can log into the print website and read our stories from last year. But then the police car and the other government official vehicles just drove past the house, came around 800 meters away, and cremated her right at the spot where I'm standing right now. In fact, the pyre, the wood, the inflammatory liquid required to cremate a body, everything was there. And the parents were, locked inside their house in a heavily barricaded police presence. That was on September 30th that I'm talking about. Now, as we stand here today in the same month, the house is still cordoned off. There are barbed wires, and only one entrance to the Hathras alleged gang rape victims' house is open. There are around 18 to 20 CRPF personnel positioned in the house, and there is with small tents there where they rotate, where they eat and sleep, and they work in 3 different shifts. And at one time, 18 to 20 CRPF personnel are always stationed there at that very spot. Now, we also visited the area where the CRPF personnel monitor the activities that are going on inside. There are 8 CCTV cameras. There are large monitors inside. It's a completely different zone from what we had seen last year. On the house is of 1 floor, but on the floor above it, the CRPF personnel have built a glass ceiling wall where another CRPF personnel's outpost has been created. You'll see our story out soon. You get to see the visuals that we have from there. For that, do stay tuned for the print.in. Our story will be out before the 14th of September. So there, a CRPF personnel stands, and rest of them stand outside the house and inside the house. The family members, however, tell us that over time, initially, so these CRPF personnel have been stationed there since November 1st, after there were abuses and threats towards this Dalit family. Now, the family says that they would not leave their land, the land where their daughters have grown up, the land where they have built a house. They are like, we are going to stay here and fight for justice because this is our house. We do not agree to the suppression and the oppression and the subjugation here. Now, coming back to the CRPF personnel, initially the victim's brother, with whom we have kept in touch since the initial days, we sort of, my colleague Manisha and I sort of have a familial bond with the victim's family, because we had visited them last year when the girl was admitted in Safdarjung Hospital on 29 September. Unfortunately, she was there only for about 25 to 26 hours, and then she succumbed to her injuries in the same hospital. So the brothers, whenever we called the brother and we asked him on the initial days, he told me that, he was a little worried, and they felt weird that they are always surrounded by men with, boots and AK-47s and pistols, and their CCTV cameras monitoring what they are doing, where they are going, where they're coming from. But now they have developed the sort of an interpersonal relationship with the CRPF personnel. They talk to them, they chit chat with them. They are like, they have become a part of a family. They share food sometimes. Now, this CRPF personnel are tasked with, checking, taking care of the security of the family. Because of the constant threats that they are subjected to, they check everything, even for media personnel. The I cards are checked. We have to make an entry. We have to give them our business cards. If anybody is getting any food items, they will check the food items. They'll check your mics. They'll check your earphones, your cameras, everything before it enters the house. And what we have observed is that the CRPF personnel and the brothers and the parents of the 20-year-old girl have bonded over time, and they tell us that they have grown since November last year. We'll just see if we could, our viewers can send us questions, because this is a live interaction. I'll also be taking questions in between talking about the case. So yesterday, going back to the case, yesterday in the Hathras court, the brother had gone, the elder brother was called in for questioning, and it went on for hours. We waited for him the entire day at his house, and he came back at around 5:30 in the evening, all tired. And then we spoke to him, and we asked him, how far is justice for you? Do you get tired? Because the family members cannot go out anywhere. They are only surviving on the compensation that they had received from the government. They do not go out to work anywhere. They do not go out to work on anybody's land to collect fodder or anything of that sort far away, because every time they go out, in fact, even to buy the minutest of things like vegetables, there are CRPF personnel who follow them. The brother is taken in a CRPF vehicle with around 10 personnel there in 2 different cars, and then they take him to the court, wait with him the entire day, and then they come back. And getting back to the struggles of the family today, what we observe today is that the mother of the girl keeps repeating the memories. She talks about a tulsi tree there that the victim had planted last year, and now the tree is grown up, and she would do puja in front of the tree. She would worship the tulsi tree, and now the mother does it to keep the tree alive because it reminds her of her daughter. The bhabi, the wife of the elder brother of the girl, complains that I miss her so much because she used to help me around the house. Her brothers wept and cried on the day of Raksha Bandhan, because it was last year's Raksha Bandhan, a couple of days later, that the alleged crime had taken place. And in fact, when we had visited last year, the mother had shown us, new clothes that her elder brother had got her on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan, and those remain until she succumbed to her injuries. One of our viewers has asked, what is the last memory that the family says? So the last memory that the girl has of the entire, that the family members have of the 20-year-old, her bhabi says is she remembers the 20-year-old standing at the doorstep of her house, yelling loudly that after her father, that, do not go out without eating food. Let me pack some chapatis for you. And there was an occasional hustle bustle, and how she would keep singing, she would keep stitching. She's also, the family members have also shown us that the 20-year-old was an expert in stitching and weaving. There were doormats and purposes that she had made and stitched out of old saris and old suits. They tell us that she was extremely talented, even though she had never been to school. They have 3 daughters. 2 of them have been married. The 3rd is a victim, but none of them have ever gone to school. Now the bhabi of the girl, the sister-in-law, says that her elder daughter, she sent the elder daughter to her maternal family. She lives, the daughter, she's now around 8 years of age. She lives there with her nana and nani, and she goes to a school nearby, because it is very difficult for anybody from Bulgari village to reach the school, because to cross on the main road, the highway, and she also does not want her daughter to grow up in what she calls an extremely hostile environment. Now, the last year when we had come, the elder brother had a newly born baby, was only 14 years of age when the 20-year-old had been allegedly gang raped and she was killed. Now the baby is a year old. She completed a year on 26th of August. He has another daughter, the mid one, who remembers her bua, the 20-year-old Dalit girl, and whenever anybody asks her, shows the photo of the girl and asks her where is she replies back saying, "Bua ko mar dala, bua mar gayi," that my bua has died, she has been killed. She has memories of her bua, the younger brother who was there with her in the hospital that day. When she succumbed to her injuries, and I remember this specifically because it is one of those days, one of those calls that are going to remain in my mind, that is going to ring, always ring a bell in my mind, no matter where I am, where I'm working at, because he had called me up around 6 a.m. in the morning, and I had taken the call, half sleepy, and then he had told me that my sister has died. She had just undergone 3 surgeries the previous day, but she could not survive. It has just started raining here in the village where I'm standing at. Since we do not have any more questions, I would like to wrap up. Once again, I would thank our viewers and our good subscribers who've subscribed to The Print. It's for good people like yourself that we are able to, come to the ground and report and chase such stories. We do not let these kind of stories die and remain in our hearts. Thank you very much for joining in at The Print today. This is Bismi Tasking, and I cover crime and security at The Print.